In this episode, I would like to address a topic on the practice of Brahmacharya, also known as Semen Retention in modern times. Please note that this excerpt is taken from the writings of PRANA MAN, and this audio is narrated by Rethas. The book link has been provided in the description. With that said, let us now turn our attention to today's chapter. Swami Vivekananda once said something powerful about semen. He said, "Semen is the net sum of all health within man. It is the sum of all strength, well-being, and power. One who conserves this great essence can achieve the impossible. One who transmutes this essence can achieve the impossible." Now, let us think about modern pharmaceutical companies. These companies advertise their products heavily. They create a need for their products among people. These people have lost their procreative power due to certain conditions. But here is something interesting. Those practicing Brahmacharya do not need these products. Those practicing semen retention do not need these products. They do not need to boost their fertility. They do not need to boost their sexual ability when trying to have children. Why would a brahmachari, which means one who practices celibacy, have such a need? True brahmacharis do not require external supplements. They do not require medicines to maintain their strength. They do not need these things to maintain their vitality. Strength and virility are naturally at their disposal. These qualities are in abundance. This is true provided they practice honest brahmacharya. This is true provided they practice sincere brahmacharya. Let me explain something very important here. Using any medicine cannot help a man achieve true brahmacharya. Using any food supplement cannot help a man achieve true brahmacharya. It does not matter if it is Ayurvedic medicine. It does not matter if it is allopathic medicine. It does not matter if it is Western medicine or other forms. None of these can help if a man were to expend his vital energy. This vital energy is called virya, which means vital energy or semen. Here is a crucial point that many people misunderstand. One's virya count has nothing to do with prana. Prana means life force or vital energy in the body. Hence, reducing one's virya count does not conserve prana. There are many men with a low virya count. There are men with an absent virya count. Yet these men are extremely physically capable. They are extremely mentally capable. They possess good amounts of pranic energy. Let me clarify this further with an analogy. The fluid within virya is only the medium. It is the medium of transferring life energy. It is not the energy itself. Think of it this way. The virya is the electric wire. Prana is the electricity. Without electricity, what would be the use of the electric wire? The wire alone has no power. Prana is not lost in the production of physical fluid, not in the absolute sense. Prana is lost in surcharging the virya with life energy. The physical thing called virya by itself has no power. It is like the electric wire without electric current. It is the induction of enormous amounts of life energy. This induction into the virya makes the virya potent. It makes the virya capable of creating another life. Therefore, one must control the mind. This is how to control and conserve this life energy. Now, let us discuss the problems with most medicines. Most potent allopathic drugs cause serious side effects. They give rise to additional problems. They suppress the immune system from functioning naturally. Instead, they kill both harmful bacteria and beneficial bacteria within the body. In addition to these side effects, there are more complications. Prolonged use of such strong allopathic drugs can result in various complications. This has been accepted by science itself. This has been proven by science itself. Inundation of the body happens with strong chemical formulations. These synthetic formulations are present within these drugs. They toxify the body. Hence, these drugs should only be taken as a last resort. Take them only if the problem is serious. Take them only if allopathic treatment is unavoidable. We need to realize something fundamental about Brahmacharya. The ultimate aim of Brahmacharya is profound. It helps man negate the negative traits that arise from past negative karma. It helps man eradicate the negative tendencies that arise from past negative karma. It enables him to reclaim his true state of purity. It enables him to reclaim his true state of divinity as the soul. To achieve this, one must undertake a long journey. First, one must abstain from desires and temptations of the senses. Second, one must overcome desires and temptations of the senses. Third, one must become fully independent of desires and temptations of the senses. This happens by realizing one's true nature. This true nature is infinite soul bliss. This bliss far surpasses sensual pleasure. This immediately points to a critical need. There is a need for abstaining from sensual pleasure at the mental level. It is not the body that enjoys sensual pleasure, it is the mind. The body is merely a medium. It is like an electric wire transmitting current. The body performs the sensual act under directions given by the mind. The body itself is a mass of flesh. It cannot enjoy or suffer. It is the mind that experiences the dualities. The mind experiences pleasure and pain. The mind experiences heat and cold and so on. Therefore, any effort to practice Brahmacharya is incomplete without mental control. Merely suppressing the flow of sexual fluid is futile. Merely altering the constitution of the sexual fluid is futile. This is true if the mind is not kept in check. The mind must be prevented from enjoying sensual pleasure. Taking medicines that produce impotency will not make a difference. Taking medicines that produce helplessness will not make a difference. They will not change the desires in the mind. They will not change the cravings in the mind. These desires and cravings are fueled by past karma. Taking such medicine will not evolve man even a single step further. It will not help in the process of evolution. Even if the entire sensual system in man were removed, nothing would change. Even if all the sensual glands were surgically removed, nothing would change. There would be no change regarding the desires. There would be no change regarding the sensual cravings realistically. I am speaking in terms of the ignorance surrounding the soul. Removing this ignorance around the soul involves serious work. It involves working at the highest levels. It involves working at the most subtle levels. It involves working at the most abstract levels. We are dealing with cleansing the dirt around the soul. The soul is formless. The soul is colorless. The soul is timeless. The soul is deathless. The soul is invisible. One must first reach a certain level. One must reach the level of comprehending what the soul is. Comprehending what the soul is in reality. Achieving this comprehension is beyond the ability of the body. It is beyond the ability of the mind. It is beyond the ability of the intellect. It is beyond the ability of consciousness. It is beyond the ability of ego. These lower vehicles can only help man progress to a certain extent. They can help man progress toward enlightenment to a point, but they cannot be used to know the soul. One can know the soul only from the soul. To achieve this supreme state, one must fully transcend limitations. One must transcend the limitations of the body. One must transcend the limitations of the mind. One must transcend the limitations of the intellect. One must transcend the limitations of the ego. A man enslaved by the concept of sensual pleasure faces a problem. He cannot achieve the ultimate aim of Brahmacharya. The ultimate aim is to negate the negative traits from past negative karma. The ultimate aim is to erase the negative tendencies from past negative karma. It is to reclaim the true state of purity and divinity as the soul. It is important to abstain from sensual pleasure at the mental level. This is because it is the mind that experiences pleasure. It is not the body. Suppressing the sensual fluid is of no use. Altering the constitution of the sensual fluid is of no use, not if the mind is not kept in check. Taking medicines to produce impotency will not make any difference. Taking medicines to produce helplessness will not make any difference. They will not affect desires in the mind. They will not affect cravings in the mind. These are fueled by past karma. Removing the ignorance around the soul requires special work. It requires working at the highest levels. It requires working at the most subtle levels. It requires working at the most abstract levels. We are dealing with cleansing the dirt around the soul. The soul is formless. The soul is colorless. The soul is timeless. The soul is deathless. The soul is invisible. Lower vehicles can only help man to a certain extent. The body can only help to a certain extent toward enlightenment. The mind can only help to a certain extent. The intellect can only help to a certain extent. Consciousness can only help to a certain extent. The ego can only help to a certain extent. But they cannot be used to know the soul. One can only know the soul from the soul itself. This requires rising beyond the limitations of the body. This requires rising beyond the limitations of the mind. This requires rising beyond the limitations of the intellect. This requires rising beyond the limitations of the ego. While past karma may require medical treatment in some cases, there is hope. Such cases might include surgeries or strong medication. But a life of Brahmacharya is the best solution. The root cause of all illness is karma. Leading an unhealthy lifestyle generates negative karma. Conserved semen is the best supplement one can give to the body. Transmuted semen is the best medicine one can give to the body. Dry fruits are beneficial in imparting valuable nutrients to the yogi. A man should gradually strive to become independent. He should become independent of dependence on any food. He should become independent of dependence on any beverage. He should become independent of dependence on any activity. All these are non-self. In Sanskrit, this is called unatma, which means not the self. They are not the self. In Sanskrit, the self is called Atman, which means the true self. Consuming tea regularly leads to dependence. Consuming coffee regularly leads to dependence and addiction. It is recommendable to gradually lessen the quantity of these drinks. It is recommendable to gradually lessen the frequency of these drinks. This helps one become free of the need. The ultimate message here is clear and powerful. True Brahmacharya is not about medicines or supplements. It is not about altering the physical body alone. It is about transcending the mind and its desires. It is about realizing your true nature as the soul. It is about conserving and transmuting your vital energy. This is the path to reclaiming your divine state of purity. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.